Hi, this is Dr. Richard Jolliff, and I want to welcome you to this week's version of Leadership to Go. We've got a great video here for you today. We're going to be talking about That Is It, I Quit. I Quit. Before we get into that, let me just talk to you for a second about our videos here. That right below us is a comment section. We'd love to hear from you, your thoughts, your ideas, anything that you'd like to share with us about maybe things that you're going to quit this year, things that you're going to stop doing, or maybe you just like to comment on what you've heard here in the video. Also, let me invite you to share this video with your friends and family and anybody, your co-workers, wherever you're seeing this at. So to me, the information is extremely vital and can be a great benefit to other people. So you can post it. There's a place here where you can post it to your Facebook. You can also put it on Twitter, on LinkedIn. So there's lots of Google Plus, lots of opportunities to be able to do that. All right, that's it. I quit. What does that mean? Well, you might have clicked on this video because of the title thinking, well, I want to see what this guy's quitting. Is he quitting pastoring? Is he going to quit pastoring? Is he quitting on marriage? Is he quitting on, what's he quitting on? Well, the issue, none of those things actually. I'm very, very happy in doing all of those things. But there are things that we do need to quit, and I have to constantly remind myself of these things. And the first is that, number one, I need to quit making excuses. Quit making excuses for things that are going on in my life. You know, it becomes very easy for us to make excuses for things that are going on in our life, especially when we're overwhelmed and when things are just we're becoming so busy with things that we just start making excuses. One of the big ones we do is with time, just telling people that I just don't have time. Well, we really do have all the time that we need. There's 24 hours in every day, and we all get the same amount of minutes and the same amount of seconds. There are things that maybe we've committed to or that we're doing that are taking up a large amount of our time. I work about 50 hours a week. It takes up a lot of time. So sometimes I do have to say that it's tough for me to get to my workouts, but I still do them. I just have to schedule them, and I have to put them up on the priority list. I like to talk about in our lives, especially with time management, about the do list. Things we must do, things we should do, and things we could do. Must-dos are the highest priority. They're things that we absolutely must do. I consider our spiritual life one of those things, that we need to have daily devotions with the Lord. We need to pray every day. We read our Bibles. That's a must do. Going to church on Sunday is a must do. I must go to church on Sunday. That's a day of worship. That's a day that I gather together with other believers of like precious faith, and we honor the Lord. So my must do list must be there must be things on that list that I absolutely have to do to be effective. Dieting and exercise is part of that. I must exercise. I only get one body. I mean, this is it. This body I have is it. I got to take care of it. I just had my annual physical, and thank God everything came out really good, and I'm very grateful for that. But you know, the thing is that I need to continue to improve my health. I want to continue to lower my blood pressure, get more salt out of my diet, keep my cholesterol low. I want to become stronger, faster, smarter, all those things. Well, that's not just going to happen. And I can't just keep sitting back going, well, I really want to, but I just don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to eat right. I have time, I just don't have time to sleep. Well, the truth is you have all the time that you need. You just have to figure out what's the most important things to do. So I must do these things. Then there's things I should do. Now, they're not necessarily things I must do, but they're things I should do. Like taking a shower every day isn't on my must-do list, but I should. If I want people to stay around me, I should, and it should be a very high priority on my should-do list. There's all kinds of other things that would go, shaving and whatever else, putting on. I mean, listen, ladies, you don't have to put on makeup every day. It's not a must-do, but it is something you should do, and you feel good about it, and so you should do it. But here's the issue that we deal with, and that's the could-do list. That's things we could do, but we don't necessarily have to do. They're not musts. They're not shoulds. They're just things that we could do. And so what happens is many times is all that could-do list becomes things that we must do. When we fill our lives with all the things we must do, it becomes very easy to determine what we should do and then what we could do. And Stephen Covey used to do this great illustration, and I love it. I still use it in some of our leadership trainings, where you take a tube, and in that, it's a tennis ball tube, and in that tennis ball tube, you put all these beans, and these are all the little details of life, our goal lists, our task lists, all the things that, really that we could do, things that need to be done, and we throw them all in there. And then we take these golf balls, and these golf balls are, they're the big things. They're really the big things we need to do. All the little beans that we're putting down in there, they're just little things that we should do, could do, but they're not the must do's. The golf balls, those are the must do's. We've got to do them. And if you put them all inside that jar, and then inside that tube, if you put all of those beans in there first, and then you put the golf balls, you'll never get it all in. It just overflows. But if you take and put the golf balls in first, it's such a great lesson, and then you pour in all the beans, it all fits. And I have that tube. I keep it over on my shelves just to remind me of that. You have to do the must-dos first. So stop saying, I quit. Listen, we all need to say this. I quit making excuses. I quit making excuses for, you might be a smoker, a drinker, a drug user. You can't keep making excuses for your life. You have to finally rise up and say, listen, I'm going to do something about this. Which leads me to the second one, and that is, that's it, I quit. I quit whining. I quit whining about life, whining about people, whining about what people aren't doing, whining about how I don't like things that are going on in my life. One person said we need to create a no whining zone. And I believe that whining doesn't produce anything productive in our lives. We need to remove whining from our lives. And so this is such a powerful thing. In fact, the scriptures are real clear about this, that life and death is in the power of the tongue, or death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat its fruit. And so we need to think about if that whining, whining about what my wife's not doing, whining about these kids I've got, whining about this job I have, whining about my pastor, whining about my time, whining about how much money I've got. That whining, all it does is produces absolutely nothing. It keeps you in a neutral, in actually a negative neutral zone. That's what we could call it. Whining produces a negative neutral zone. And truthfully, it really does repel people away from you, unless they're whiners too. And then, of course, misery loves company. And so we all get together and whine together about what we don't like. But we have to remove that whining from our lives. You say, well, okay, Brother Jolliff, you say, well, stop whining. Here, what do we do? Do we just accept that that's the way that things are? No, we go back and we go to that first point, and that's stop making excuses. Start looking at ways that I can make a difference, that I can begin to make these changes. And, if your marriage is not going so great, then get in a marriage seminar somewhere. Sit down together and, get some help. Let somebody help you influence. Start creating goals and things that you can do that will help produce a better marriage. Have a date night. I mean, that's a great thing to do. And if you can't do a date night, then have a date breakfast where you get together early in the morning and it's just the two of you before all the kids are up. Or, whatever that it is, you have to manage it. If it's with your children, then begin to look at, if you're whining, I'm just running my kids. Well, stop letting your kids get in everything. And then that'll really put an end to that. So you have to look at in your life that whining really is really kind of could fall under one of those excuse areas, because it's one that we sort of default into to just complain about what we don't like. Well, I don't like this and I don't like that. The Bible's full of all kinds of examples of people that they complained against their leadership, they complained against God, and on and on. Well, we need to say, that's it. I quit. No more whining. And then the last thing, third thing, and we'll wrap up with this, is I quit thinking negative. Think on the things that are good in life. There's so many great and powerful things that are going on around us every day. There's beautiful sunrises and sunsets. There's always a silver lining in every cloud, they say. Look at the good things in life. And you may have a lot of things going wrong. And right now while I'm sitting here, I have lots of things that could get me down right now, but I choose to think on those things that are good, as it says in the book of Philippians, the things that are good and lovely and of good report. And if it produces anything good, it says meditate on those things. Put your thoughts on those things. Stop dwelling on what you can't change. Stop dwelling on people that they're going to do what they're going to do. You might be sitting there today and people are saying bad things about you. You can't stop people from saying bad. You can defend yourself, but you know what? What does that produce? I love this one saying I heard, that don't defend yourself because your friends don't really need you to, and your enemies will never believe you anyway. So let it go. Why sweat over it? Why let them have the victory over your life by letting what someone says? I look on Facebook, and when I look on there, I see so many people trying to vent against other people because they're hurt or because somebody's saying something. Listen, stop that nonsense. That produces nothing. What you need to do is just let it go. Move on. Forgive. You have control over that. Don't let people, as our good friend Josh Barkley preached at Amazing Grace yesterday, no one can take your joy. You have to give it away. So keep your joy. Keep your joy. Stay focused. Stay positive. Stay, moving forward. Keep thinking these thoughts. Don't allow those, as we call, I'm sorry, these are women's names, but Negative Nancy and Debbie Downer to just take you out of sync in life. You got to get over there with positive and focus on what's good and what's positive and what has a good report, and it'll really make a difference. Listen, I'm so glad we had this time together here on Leadership to Go, and we'll be back next week. We'll have another powerful segment that we can share with you, and I'm really looking forward to that. Listen, before we go, let me invite you, be sure, share this video with other people on Facebook. You can forward it to people in your emails. There's all kinds of possibilities here through the video process that you can do that. And then the other thing is, leave me a comment if you enjoyed today's message. God bless you. Until the next time we're together, Richard Jolliff proclaiming to you, may all of God's richest and best continue to be yours.